Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. We are not doing a vlog today. We're going to be doing the mid-year freakout tag, which I'm so excited about because it's one of my favorite tags. I just think it's a great way to kind of check in on where I'm at in the reading year, see how many books I've read, see what my favorite books are, and talk about some books that I'm excited for. I'm actually just going to dive right in because I don't want this to be too long, and I feel like whenever it's a sit-down video, I can yap a bit, so let's just dive right in. So I'm going to actually start by sharing my reading stats so far. I have read 19 books this year. I had my goal set to 12 books, and I hit that, so that's excellent. Let's see my top 5 moods. So my top 5 moods are emotional, reflective, sad, funny, and dark. I feel like that's usually the norm for me. For pace, I have been reading, let's see, it's like a big chunk. So 89% of the books I've been reading have been a medium pace, 5% have been a slow pace, and 5% have been fast paced. For fiction versus nonfiction, I have been reading 79% fiction, 21% nonfiction, which I'm not shocked at. I feel like I've been reading some memoirs, but majority of my reading is fiction lately. So for genres, my top 5 genres are contemporary, literary, romance, memoir, and historical. I wonder what that one is. Oh, Human Acts and Stay With Me. So that's a little bit different for me. I don't typically have romance or historical in my top 5, so I've been reading a lot of romance for sure. Okay, for format, I have been reading 74% physically, 26% on audio. For my most read authors, it's Charlotte McConaghy with 2 books and Emily Henry with 2 books as well. Those are all the stats I really look at. I also wanted to check in on my 25 books for 2025. I made a video sharing what those books are, and I honestly haven't been keeping track of it necessarily. I just have my stack over here. I have just been randomly grabbing from that pile, but I've actually read 6 books. I read Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo, Human Acts by Hong Kong, Catalina by Karla, Cornejo y Villavicencio, The School for Good Mothers by Jessamine, The Man Who Could Move Clouds by Ingrid, Rojas, Contreras, and We Will Be Jaguars by nemonte, nenquimo. 6 books. I feel like that's good. No, I probably should have read more since we're technically at the halfway mark, but I'm impressed with that. 6 books is impressive to me, so I'm glad that I have been reading from this stack slowly, but I've been doing it. All right, so now that we're done with reading stats and checking in on my reading challenge, now we can dive into the questions. The very first question, we're starting off with a bang, is best book of 2025. The first book that I wanted to mention is Migrations by Charlotte McConaghy. That's the first McConaghy book I've read, and I read it towards the beginning of the year, and I just loved it. I flew through it. I loved the main character and seeing all the stuff that she would get up to, the twists, the turns, the writing was beautiful, the imagery of like the landscape, the relationships, it was just so good. It had so many elements that I thought were done so well, and I have to include it. I love that book. She has a new book out, so I need to read that one as well, and I could just see her being a new author that I just gravitate towards whenever she has new releases. So that's the first book. The second book that I had to mention is Human Acts by Hong Kong. This book was so heavy and it was pretty impactful when I read it. I will never get over the second chapter, and once I realized the perspective we were in, it just kind of like shattered my heart. I also didn't really know much about like the history of the Gwangju uprising, so this was kind of the first time I was reading a bit about it, and I was just really impressed with the storytelling and the different perspectives that she included. So had to mention that one. I think that both of these books are going to be books that you probably will see in my end of year like best books of 2025, so these are like for sure favorites. The next question is best sequel of 2025. I don't really read books that have sequels necessarily. I will say I read Done and Dusted, and now I'm reading Swift and Saddled, and I haven't finished it, so I can't really say it, but I am enjoying Lyla Sage's books, and that's technically a series. It's the Rebel Blue Ranch series, I think that's what it's called, and this is the second book in that series, even though it could be a standalone. Haven't finished it, so I can't really say if it's like gonna be the best sequel I read, but it is a sequel that I am currently reading, so I thought I would mention it because I'm having a great time with romance right now. All right, the next question is new releases you want to read. I have a list. I didn't realize I had so many books that I was excited for, but the first one I wanted to mention is Immaculate Conception by Ling Huang. I read Natural Beauty by Ling Huang and I loved it. I totally forgot she was coming out with a new book. I saw someone recently talking about it and I was so excited. So I need to put in a hold with my library. I think I might have already done that actually. Whenever I get my holds, I'm going to read it and I'm going to be so excited. I loved Natural Beauty. Another one is Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. I feel like I've talked about this a few times in like vlogs. Obviously that one had to make the list. The Emperor of Gladness by Vuong. I loved On Earth, We're Briefly Gorgeous. So I'm excited to read Ocean's next book. I'm sure it's going to be so beautiful and I'm going to love it. Vanishing World by Sayaka Murata. She is someone that I never know what to expect, but I always know that I'm going to probably enjoy it, even though it is so weird at times. But I'm really excited for that one. The cover looks wild. I'm also really excited for Exit Zero by Marie-Helene Bertino. Another one that I totally forgot about, and then I saw, I think it was Nathan's Nook. He talked about it in a wrap-up video. Even though I don't typically like short stories, I feel like maybe I'll like her collection of short stories. We'll see. Another book that I am really excited about, and Jacob actually purchased it recently, is Hunchback by Saou Ichikawa, and it's been translated by Polly Barton. I'm so excited for this, and now we have it on our shelves, so I hope to get to it soon. Another book that I came across while I was like looking for what has been released, and it's Nobody Asked for This by Georgia Taves, which I found out is Miriam Taves's daughter, and I'm so curious to read her writing. It's someone in their early 20s, so we'll see how I like it, but I am just curious to read her writing and see what it's like. So added that to the list. If anyone's read that, I think it's already been released, but if anyone's read that, I would love to hear your thoughts on it. The next question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I have not been keeping up with what's coming soon. I just see like the more recent releases as they're coming out. I also feel like because I'm not on Instagram, I'm not necessarily seeing new books that will be coming out soon, so I'm kind of out of the loop. I don't really know what's coming. If you have any recommendations, if you know any books that are coming out the second half of this year that you think I would really like, please let me know, because I've been out of the loop. I've got no idea. So I don't know what's coming out. I'm sure that there's something and I'm just totally unaware of it. The next one is Biggest Disappointment. I was trying to look at all the books that I've read this year, and there was nothing that I necessarily had really high expectations for that I was so excited about and that let me down. So I don't really have an answer for this. There wasn't anything hyped up in my brain for an author that I was super pumped about. The book that I was most excited for that was being released this year is Wild Dark Shore, and also Immaculate Conception and the others, but I just haven't gotten to them. All right, the next question is biggest surprise. And if you watch my most recent reading vlog, you'll know that I read Happy Place by Emily Henry, and I'm obsessed with it. As you can tell, this is not a library copy. I went out and purchased one, so I loved it. I loved it so much. This was such a surprise to me. I remember starting it just because I've been in a big romance mood, and I was like, well, I haven't read Happy Place by Emily Henry. Let me give it a try. It's a second chance romance. I feel like that could be up my alley, and it was. I loved it so much. I was at Trident, and Ivana noticed that there was Happy Place in the remainders, and I bought it. It was $9.98. I was so excited. I didn't even think twice. Sometimes when I'm like thinking about a book, I kind of think on it for a little bit, and this one, no. I just started going through the stacks and trying to find the most beautiful, not beat up version of this book. Never thought that there would be like an Emily Henry book that I was obsessed with. I've read a good chunk of her books, not all of them, and didn't really find one that I like necessarily loved or felt like an attachment to characters. But this one, I was genuinely so bummed out when I was done reading and this was over and I was no longer in this world. So I bought it. I'm probably going to reread this often. It's probably going to be a comfort read. So yeah, this was a huge surprise to me. The next one that was a surprise is Rejection by Tony Tulatimudi. I think that's how you say it. So sorry if I said that wrong. That was a book that I just kept hearing like the wildest things about. I was definitely nervous to read it, and I'm honestly surprised I loved it as much as I did. It was so good. It was wild. Go into that one with caution, but if you are wanting to read it, I do highly recommend it. I think that Tony's so talented, and he was really able to write these characters, and it was wild. It was wild. All right, favorite new author. I feel like it has to be Charlotte McConaghy because I read 2 of her books this year already, and I'm going to soon read her 3rd book, and I know that any new books that she comes out with, I'm going to want to read. So Charlotte McConaghy for sure. She hasn't missed for me yet, and I've heard great things about Wild Dark Shore, so I don't think that she will miss. Another new favorite author, I don't know that she's like a new favorite author because I already loved her other book, but I think it just confirms that I really like her writing and I like her voice, and I also love that she narrates her books. I could listen to her voice all day. She could read whatever she wants and I would just listen. And it's Karla Cornejo Villavicencio. Not last year. A few years back I read The Undocumented Americans. Loved it, and I was so excited that she was coming out with a novel, Catalina. So I read this. I really loved it. I haven't had a chance to update you on this one, but I've finished it, loved it. I loved being in Catalina's perspective. I loved the writing. It was so good. So I think that this confirms that whatever else she writes, I'm gonna want to pick it up. I think that she is officially a new favorite author for me. She kind of was already with The Undocumented Americans, but like now it's confirmed. The next question is newest fictional crush. I've got nothing. I have nothing, so. But I do have a new favorite character. It's gotta be Catalina. I loved Catalina. She made me laugh so much. I loved being in her brain. She is just like so different from me, and I loved her perspective. I loved her voice. So I have to say Catalina. Up next is Book That Made You Cry, Human Acts by Kang. There was definitely a point where I got teary-eyed, and like I said earlier, this book was just so heavy, and I will never get over that 2nd chapter. That messed me up. I just felt like devastated. So I have to say Human Acts. There's a cutie coming. I wonder if she'll come over here. She's lurking. She's thinking about it. Hi. Oh, she doesn't want you guys to see. Come here. Do you want to say hi? Come here. Come here. You're so close. No, she wants to go on the couch. You look so cute. Should I take a video? Let's take a video. The next question is Book That Made You Happy. I have a good amount of books, and I think it's just this year I need books that make me feel happy. Normally, I love something that's gonna just like emotionally wreck me, but not what I need right now. I need uplifting. I need a happy ending. I need something that's gonna make me feel good, that's not gonna add to like anxiety I already feel on the day-to-day. So I have a good list. Happy Place by Emily Henry. Who's Shocked? I feel like I've just been raving about it. Done and Dusted by Lyla Sage was so good, so fun. Audrey and Bash by T.L. Williams it's a YA romance, and it was so sweet and so cute, and I loved their romance, and I loved being in Audrey's perspective, so had to include that one. And I also read The Book of Delights by Ross Gay. Ever since reading that, it just kind of like shifted something in my brain. Now, whenever I see something that brings me like joy or makes me feel happy, I'm like, that's a delight. And that's a delight, and that's a delight. That's just like such a positive and good mindset to have, especially when things are just like heavy and they feel so dark and hopeless. So I have to say, The Book of Delights, that definitely brought me a lot of joy, and it's just been kind of like lasting because I just feel like now I just have this little perspective change. And I always think of Ross Gay, and I also listened to the audio, so I imagine him saying like, that's a delight, and that's a delight. That's a delight as well. The next question is most beautiful book you've bought this year. Wild Dark Shore. I mean, this is like a beautiful cover. So this is the first one that I thought of. I actually haven't opened it to see what color it is. Ooh, it's like a maroon. Nice. I also bought These Precious Days by Ann Patchett, and look at that face. That's a precious little face. So that's also one that I really love. And I bought this edition of Mrs. Caliban by Rachel Ingalls. It's so simple, but I just love it. I think it's so pretty, the black and pink. So I think these are like some of the prettier books that I've bought. I mean, Hunchback is also really nice, but I didn't buy that one technically. Jacob bought it, so. But that one's also stunning. The next question is, what books do you need to read by the end of this year? I have to say Mrs. Caliban by Rachel Ingalls. In my indie bookstore day video, so many people commented specifically about this book and how much they loved and enjoyed this book. So this kind of like shot up to the top of my list of books that I want to get to. So this one soon. It's tiny. I'm actually going on a trip soon, and maybe this will be a good one to bring because it's short. Okay, this might be brought with me on my trip, so hopefully I'll read it soon. But also, like, any of these books on my 25 books that I want to read in 2025, I would be so happy to read any of those. But I do have a stack of some books that I would love to prioritize. All of these are part of my 25 books for 2025. Salt Slow by Julia Armfield, A Little Luck by Claudia Pinheiro, Time of the Flies by Claudia Pinheiro, A Complicated Kindness by Miriam Taves, and The Story of a New Name by Elena Ferrante. So these are all books that I would really love to read this year because they're all by authors that I've read previously and have loved, like Miriam Taves. I love her writing. I try and read one of her books every year, so that's why I'm adding this one. I loved Elena Knows, so I would love to read at least one of these because I just want to keep making my way through. And Salt Slow will be the last Julia Armfield book I have to read before I'm fully caught up on all her books. And then, of course, Elena Ferrante. I have so many books of hers that I still have to read, but I would love to continue the series and hopefully finish the series this year. But I'm going to start small. I'm going to start here. Hopefully this summer I will get to this one. Oh my God, what? We're at the last question. What the heck? I was not expecting to be done already. The last question is favorite book community members. I've shared some booktubers that I really loved over time. I wanted to mention some people that maybe I just haven't brought up before. I have been loving Heather McLary's vlogs and reading vlogs. They're so captivating to me, and I think that she's so funny. We don't necessarily have similar reading tastes, but I just like enjoy her so much. So I love her vlogs. I also really enjoy watching Vanessa over at Split Reads. She reads a lot of nonfiction, so I love hearing her thoughts on the nonfiction books that she's read. There's a lot of books that I've added to my TBR because of her, so really love her channel. Chris's library brings me so much joy. I love Benji Plant, and when I found out that Chris made a booktube channel, that I was so excited. So I love his videos. Every time I'm watching, I literally am always smiling. So it brings me so much joy. I love his channel. Another channel that I've been enjoying is Reese over at Read Write Reese. I have just loved her reading wrap-ups and hearing her thoughts on things. There's books that we have in common that she's really liked and I've really liked. So I've been loving to see other books that she's been reading to get more recommendations. Also, I did want to shout out some Spanish-speaking booktubers. I have been watching a lot more vlogs of Spanish speakers. I speak Spanish and I understand Spanish, but I don't use it that often, and I've definitely lost it over the years. I mainly just speak Spanish with my parents. It's been so nice to watch a vlog in Spanish, and I feel like my brain, it's doing something in my brain where I'm right, I need to practice this, and I just need to be better in general with practicing my Spanish. Sometimes I get really in my head, but anyways, I have been really loving watching videos in Spanish with different Spanish speakers, and I've watched lifestyle vlogs, but because of that, I've also been getting recommended Spanish speaking booktube channels, and I love it. The first channel I want to mention is Ana from Ana Libris. I really enjoy her videos. I can't tell if she's newer. I've watched a lot of her videos. I think I've watched most of her videos that she's put out. I also really enjoy Lucinda Entre Libros. Her vlogs are so fun, and she lives in New York, so we get a mix of books, but also I think she's a dancer. I think so. maybe I'm getting confused, but I love like her vlogs. I feel like she does a good combination of like lifestyle, but also talks about books. It just feels like I'm hanging out with a friend when I'm watching her video, so that's been really nice. And then someone that's newer to me that I was recently recommended is Pages by Maria. I haven't watched all of her videos, but I've really been enjoying her channel and her vlogs, so I'm including them as well in case you're looking for any booktube channels with Spanish speakers. Let me know if you have any favorite booktubers, because I'm always on the lookout for new booktubers, so send them my way. If there's anyone you really enjoy, please include them in the comments. But that's it. We just got through the mid-year freakout tag. I honestly thought that this was going to take me way longer, and it didn't, but it's probably because I didn't go into like the synopsis of all these books, because we would have been here all day. I hope that you enjoyed this video. It's been a minute since I've done like a proper sit down booktube video. I've done a lot of vlogs, which I've been majorly enjoying. This was just so nice to do a little catch up, let you know where I'm at with my reading for the past 6 months. Definitely has not been my best reading year, but I'm reading books that are helping me to just stay sane right now, and I'm enjoying my time. I'm having fun. I'm also finding that I'm getting into the groove with reading where I'm consistently reading. Every day for the most part, I'll read something, and that has felt so good. So I'm in some sort of a routine. I'm just not reading as many books as I have previously, but I think that's okay. I feel like I want to slow down anyways. Oh my god, I have to take another video of her because I can see her little tongue. Oh my god, hold on. And that dog, she melts my whole heart. She is so cute. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up here. I feel like I could keep yapping, but I need to cut myself off. I would love to hear what your favorite book of 2025 has been so far. Also, if there's any questions from this mid-year freakout tag that you want to answer down below, please do. I would love to chat with you about it, and I will just talk to you in my next video. Bye.